Good evening, all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes, sir. Screen is visible and we are able to hear you.
Fine, thank you. Right. Yes. So I was in the previous session, I was briefing you about why data engineer, role of data engineer, differences between this data engineer, data scientist, and analyst. So data engineering products, job market of Azure data engineer. So just 5 minutes I take. So it's majorly cloud is utilized for storing, analyzing, and developing this delivering data in various forms. Data engineers, with the help of these cloud services, they work on this data and make it structured and useful. They're responsible for smooth data flow from the source to the destination. Advantage of cloud on this on-premises. In the case of on-premises, everything you need to set up manual. So set up your own hardware infrastructure, OS installation, purchasing of database license, installation of database server, designing database objects, right? Maintaining all this, we require separate teams like hardware team, operating system, networking team, security team, database administrators, right? But here everything in the cloud premises, we no need to maintain all this. We need to maintain, no need to maintain any of this infrastructure, no need of any licenses. Here everything in the cloud environment, right? Yes. So data engineer for preparing data, cleansing data, transforming and processing data. So for data management, storage and processing, data scientist for strategizes for the future, data analyst summarizes the past. So, so data scientist for data analysis, predictions, classifications, clusterings, and recommendations. Data analyst visualizing the data, right? Yes. So data engineer does all the groundwork for the data scientist and analyst in extracting the data from different sources, processing the data, and bringing the data as per the required format for data analyst or data scientist. More than 70% of this work is done by data engineers. What data engineering, right? What are the sources of the data? What is the format of the data? How to transform and what is the destination, right? And Azure data engineer, the role of Azure data engineer, right? Designing the entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse to store this data, and ETL, extract, transform, and load, extracting data from different sources, and data monitoring, data security, collaborating and communicating with the data scientist and the business teams. You need to have some analytic skills, perform analysis, and certain things need to be automated. Various Azure data engineering products and services I was briefing you. Azure SQL, it's a RDBMS, cloud-based RDBMS. Data Lake, cloud-based is a file system. A cloud DFS, cloud distributed file system. It's a Synapse, Azure Synapse, right? For data warehouse operations, big data operations, for parallel processing, for batch processing. Azure Data Factory, cloud-based ETL. Azure Databricks, say Apache Spark-based data analytics platform, Cosmos DB. It's a cloud-based NoSQL database, Azure streaming, yes, streaming data coming from multiple sources. Azure Key Vault, protecting the data in the cloud, right? So I was just briefing you these things in the last class. Azure SQL Cloud or DBMS. It's a data lake distributed file system with unlimited storage. Supports all varieties, all formats of data, unlimited data storage. Azure Synapse for data warehouse operations, for big data operations, batch operations, and parallel processing. And I was discussing about data factory between the OLTP and the data warehouse. It acts as an integration service between this OLTP and data warehouse systems. ADF is a data integration service. Okay, fine. Azure SQL, it's for RDBMS, not for data warehouse. Synapse is for data warehouse. For analytics, for batch processing, and for parallel processing. Data Lake, it's a cloud DFS. for unlimited data storage for parallel processing, and Azure Data Factory Cloud ETL data integration service. It acts as a data integration service. We talk about this area of more on this. 1 second. We talk like in area of, for example, if we talk like area of versions, ADF version 1, ADF version 2. We observe the difference between this version 1 and version 2. I said version 2, it's a zero coding ETL. But if you see compared with the version 1 and version 2, ADF version 1, how simple it is version 2 compared with version 1. We talk about this version 1. It is used to perform EL only. It is used to perform EL only, but not ETL. Extracting, transforming, it is used to perform EL only, but not ETL. There were no transformations. There were no inbuilt transformations in this version 1, I mean. Inbuilt transformation. To perform transformation in version 1. Yes. To perform transformations. Some additional services required. ADLA, Azure Data Lake Analytics. I'm talking about ADF version 1 was performing only EL, that extracting and loading, no inbuilt transformation. For performing those transformations, it required ADLA, Azure Data Lake Analytics. Here, analytics are done by USQL. Here, analytics are done by USQL, right? Unified Structure Query Language. Unified Structured Query Language. It is not equivalent. See, USQL, here analytics are done by USQL, Unified Structure. It is not equivalent to basic SQL, no. USQL is different. Secondly, it was dealing with HD Insights. HD Insights, nothing but Hadoop Insights. Hadoop Insights. Hadoop is a distributed computing cluster. Okay. HD Insights, Hadoop Insights, right? Hadoop is a distributed computing cluster. So same big data. Same big data Hadoop framework in Azure cloud is called as HD Insights. HD Insights. So here we have a data flow language. We have a data flow language called PIC, Apache PIC. Apache PIC. Using Apache PIC. Using Apache PIC, the data flows. Transformations are performed and transformations are performed. The data flows are written and transformations are performed. So how we are performing transformations I was discussing in the previous version. Now we can observe compared with it's very flexible now because of this ADF version 2. I'll come back to the ADF version 2. You can come. Next, Azure functions. Azure functions. Previously, transformations done by ADLA, HD Insights, Azure functions. These Azure functions are complex to implement. Azure Databricks and stored procedures. Okay, you need to do all these things by using all this. So to perform transformations. First, you should be here. I'm talking about the previous version, right? ADF version 1. So to perform transformations, you should be a developer first. You should be a developer first. The two, you should be expert in scripting. The two, you should be expert in scripting. That is, USQL scripts. You should be expert in scripting like USQL scripts. Secondly, big scripts. Right, Azure functions. Azure Databricks. Stored procedures. So if you talk big scripts, so in the ADF version 1, you have got a lot of prerequisites in ADF version 1. First thing, to write big scripts, you need to have by Hadoop developer, Azure functions, very complex code by .NET developer, Azure Databricks by Spark developer, stored procedures by SQL developer. For example, in area version 1, if your company wants pig scripts, you need to know pig scripting. See, Apache Pig is one of the important one because previously it was used a lot. Pig can process all varieties of data. All varieties of data. All varieties of data means like structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. Whatever the data, see here. Whatever the dirty data, Pig can process. Means any means semi-structured, unstructured, whatever it is. So this is the problem with this is the problem. ADF version 1. This problem with ADF version 1. Afterwards, what? Microsoft recognized this problem. Afterwards, Microsoft recognized this problem and decided Microsoft recognized this problem and decided to make a ETL tool with zero coding. Okay. This is the problem with ADF version 1. So decided to make a ETL tool with zero coding. So that's why they launched a new version. They launched a new version. ADF version 2. ADF version 2 is a zero coding. It's a zero coding. No need of all these things. No need of writing pig scripts, USQL scripts, other functions, AZURE Databricks, stored procedures. It's a zero coding ETL. Previously, Informatica. Previously, 80%, 80% drag and drop. 20% writing scripts. Writing SQL scripts. So previously Informatica 80% drag and drop, 20% writing SQL script. So but here ADF version 2 everything 100% drag and drop. No need of any. Okay, ADF version 2 is a zero coding ETL, right? Yes.
Basic SQL is enough, sir, for writing the scripts.
You won't be writing any scripts also here in totally 100% drag and drop.
Okay.
100% drag and drop, right? Internally, the code will be generated here. So as the ADF developer, we talk as the ADF, no, in Informatica, I was talking 20% writing SQL script. Here, everything 100%.
Everything is drag and drop.
Yes. Here in ADF, 100% drag and drop. But you need to know which functionality to be used, which functionality to be used, what to be used. We have got lot of things. Which one you need to drag, which one to use. Just like if it,
We
yes.
know big data architecture, right, sir, before going to ADF.
In
Is it-
ADF, it's just an ETL, it's a cloud-based ETL. But if you talk about Azure Databricks and this PySpark, you'll see more lot of big data architecture.
Okay.
Here also in in ADF also, right? As a ADF, see, I'm going to say the same thing. As a ADF developer, what you are going to do? We develop pipelines. We develop data flows. We develop data flows. When you run a data flow, understand carefully, when you run a data flow, data flows, they're internally converted to Databricks jobs. They're internally converted into Databricks jobs. These jobs are executed by Spark cluster. You said right? Yes. So for this, all this, the main is big data. So here for Spark, require a cluster. Cluster means group of systems. They're interconnected. So here, whenever you are you'll be developing data flows. Whenever you run a data flow, the data flows are internally converted into Databricks jobs. These jobs are executed by Spark cluster. These jobs are internally executed, but you don't need to write any code here. That's why I'm saying in Databricks, we'll be writing code, I said. In Spark code, you'll be writing. But here, whenever you are executing, there are no Databricks jobs. But during the execution process, Databricks jobs are created and they are executed by Spark cluster. Means internally, the code will be generated and executed. You no need to worry about those codes.
So all we need to know how to use the ADF tool internally.
Yes.
how
Yes,
to
you
configure.
need to use that. Okay. For example, just I'll show you 1 second. Mhm. For example, I'm opening this OAD of Azure Data Factory Studio, Launch Studio, right? Okay, just observe here. Here, this is a pencil. This is the main developer tool where you will be developing pipelines, data sets, data flows, Power Queries. In ADF version 2, you have got this data flows and Power Queries were introduced. In ADF version 1, there were no data flows and Power Queries. in area version 2 data. Okay, just for this one here you can include. In area version 2 data flows were introduced. Data flows and Power Query. Was introduced. Within this data flows, many inbuilt transformations we say. Many inbuilt transformations you are able to, many inbuilt transformations. So within this data flows, many inbuilt transformations you can be able to observe. So because of which in area version 1, there were no data flows, there were no inbuilt transformations, so it was not able to do the transformations, but using transformations, you will need to have a lot of other knowledge. But here there is no prerequisites. But in area version 1, you need to have the knowledge of USQL scripts, PIC scripts, Azure functions, Azure Databricks, stored procedures, all this. But here there are no prerequisites. Everything you'll be performing drag and drop. If you observe, right, if you observe in this, data flows are there for queries. Data flows, I want to create a new data flow. I want to create a new data flow. You will click it. Okay. See here, this is your source. Your source. Okay. To the source, observe any which transformation you want. Giant transformation. See here, giant transformation. So just check, click this plus icon. Which transformation you want, that you can select. Which transformation, select aggregate transformation you want, or pivot transformation you want, or if you want a filter transformation you want. If you want filter transformation, click it, filter transformation you will get. Whichever transformation you want to select, that you can easily select. In the previously, there were no data flows in version 1. So, but here, so if you want multiple inputs related transformations, schema modifier transformations, can you check it here? And formatters, flatten transformations, row modifiers like filter, alter row, and flowlets. All these are the inbuilt transformations. Whichever you want, you can select it. If you want to derive a new column, derived column transformation. If you want to perform some so just I'll minimize it. If you want to perform some kind of aggregations, aggregate transformations. Later, I want to filter it. I want to filter transformations. In this way, like a series of transformations you can perform before you go to the final target. Target means sink, we say. At the last, you can see destination is sink, target. So from the source to the sink, data is moving. Between that, in middle, you can perform all this. In this, you will be giving the condition. So here derived column is there. If I want to derive a new column, so what column you want? So I want to derive a new column. Which column? So here you can say which column you want to add. Add a new column. That's it. What is the column name? That's it. In this way, if you want to generate new columns, if you want to perform aggregations in this way, everything, no need of writing code, just by drag and drop only you can perform. So some query was asked, right? 1 second. So the data from where you can get the data from. Yes, what is the source and destination? Some query was asked, right? So here, please brief in end-to-end. Will come into picture. What is the source and target? ADF and ADB coming into the picture, right? See, observe ADF. Okay, ADF, everything drag and drop. No need to write any code. Zero coding. And for extracting, transforming, and loading. So if you want to extract the data from where you want, from one Azure service to another Azure storage, one Azure storage to Azure storage, ADF will be using. From non-Azure storage to Azure storage, like from AWS to Azure, if you want to pull the data. ADF will be used. And from on-premises databases like from Oracle, MySQL, if you want to extract the data into this also storage, you will be using this ADF. Means you want to extract the data either from on-premises databases, or if you want to non-Azure services, non-Azure storages like AWS, and also for Azure storage, right? ADF will be used for extracting. Right? After extracting, right, and later by Databricks, when to go for Azure Databricks means in ADF, okay, in Databricks, the complex operations like streaming things, graph, working with the graph data, working with streaming kind of data, these things are complex operations we will be doing using Databricks, because Databricks totally will be writing some Spark coding. Don't think like huge codings will be writing, but Spark has got many built-in libraries available using which we can perform those operations. So working with the Spark core programming, Spark core it is giving for working with Spark SQL kind of things, Spark SQL it is providing, and for working with machine learning, Spark MLlib it is providing for working with streaming. Like in this way, many libraries are there where you can write the code within this, right? So Databricks is the main component in this Azure data engineering, where it is providing cluster for the Spark, where the Spark total everything ADF or ADB or Synapse total execution happening by the Spark. Spark is the main execution weapon here, the main execution engine. So it has Spark massive parallel process. What is the main advantage of Spark? Spark is the execution engine, right? Execution engine. Spark is a in-memory computing system. In-memory. In-memory means both everything, storage and processing, everything happening within the memory level. Spark is execution, it's an in-memory computing system. So Spark, MPP, massive parallel process. Massive parallel process. Spark is an execution engine, it's an in-memory computing system. MPP, massive parallel process. Means multiple systems running parallelly, right? Working on the same data object. So because of which very high speed, because of in-memory computation and massive parallel process, very high speed you are going to see for the Spark, especially for a huge data processing within quick time, like this Spark is preferred. That too with the PySpark, means sorry, with Python. Spark with Python implementation, we say like PySpark, it is a Python API to use a Spark. Okay, so in the case of Databricks, in the case of Databricks, we'll be writing some Spark coding, but in ADF we won't be writing. So initially, if you want to step into the company, right, you can go as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, or as a data engineer. But if you want to go, if it's a huge pack with the big packages, higher packages, right, you need to have the knowledge on Databricks with again with the PySpark, right, it will get added advantage, right, with the bigger salary packages. So Spark is the main execution engine where you need to be learning all this in the Spark. In our course, I said I'll be discussing about PySpark, right, with Python implementation, right? So I was just saying that previously in the area of version 1, we need to have about ADLA, Azure Data Lake Analytics. You need to have that because it was performing EL only, but to perform inbuilt transformations, there were no inbuilt transformations there. So if you want to perform transformations, ADLA, Azure Data Analytics, where you see Unified Structure Query Language, USQL, HD Insights, like Hadoop, Big Data Hadoop Framework, HD Insights, where we have got a component like Pig, where we write Pig scripts, Azure Functions, Azure Databricks, and stored procedures. Previously in ADF version 1 was a little difficult, right? Where a lot of prerequisites like writing Pig scripts, writing Azure Functions, writing Azure Databricks, and the stored procedures like SQL developer. But here, as in area of version 2, Microsoft recognized and it has decided to make ETL tool with zero coding. It launched area of version 2. Area of version 1 is not supported now. It is a zero coding ETL, I said. Everything drag and drop. So it has introduced data flows. Area of version 2, just now I was showing you the data flows, where you can see many inbuilt transformation. Which one you want to, based on that necessity, you can drag and use it. You can select it. And also Power Query also was introduced, right? So okay. So from tomorrow, just we'll be going with the actual things, right? Starting with the basics, building blocks of ADF. Tomorrow I'll be starting with the building blocks of ADF. What are the various building block one by one? So tomorrow we'll be starting with the actual things, right? So yes. So tomorrow the link will be changed. So you are supposed to get enrolled for getting the link to your mail IDs. So you can see in the chart the details given. You can see in the chart, right? The details, their contact details of the online team, and this payment details. Okay.
Before we start the ADF, Python knowledge would be enough, right?
So area of, we won't be writing anything of related to Python, but whenever we start with Azure Databricks, you require that knowledge, right? So for the next 35 days to 40 days, we'll be discussing on ADF, right? But next Databricks, before we go with the Databricks, you require that Python knowledge. We'll be having some time now, around 30 to 35 days, right? So meanwhile, you can just, if you have people, if it doesn't have knowledge on this Python, you can update. So that otherwise, even and before I go with the practical part, I'll be just showing you the syntaxes of this Python, right? It looks simple, not as complex, right? Other
Okay.
Python knowledge you get there, right? It's basic Python, not that object-oriented, all those not required. Basic Python, right? Just uh, defining variables, collections, that's it.
Okay.
Basic Python, not that in brief all this Python.
No object oriented, no data structure, those things are not required, right?
Object-oriented programming, all this, we are not developing any web applications here, right? So all object-oriented programming, those not required. Basic Python is required. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So yes, and basic SQL knowledge, right? Even if it doesn't have this SQL knowledge, even SQL, this Durgasoft is giving free SQL, that is Oracle batch. There's a free Oracle batch. If anyone doesn't have knowledge on this SQL, you can go with this. There is a free Oracle batch going on, right? You can check with that Durgasoft, right? And you can attend, make use of that. Okay.
This timing is also very fixed, right, sir? 6 p.m. only.
Yeah, that's why I'm specifically specifying that its timing is 6 p.m. No change in the time.
We have stand-up calls during the time. That's why I was asking.
As of now, it is 6 p.m. It's already announced, right? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, once you can go to the course content, right? The course content link is also given. You can check with this in brief about this area of data sets, activities, different types of activities, different transformations, triggers, all this in area of data flows, transformations, different practical exercises, around 50 exercises we'll be discussing practically within this. Azure Databricks, before we go, the prerequisites like big data, Hadoop, Spark, cloud computing will be given, and coming to the introduction to Azure Databricks, cluster management, all these Databricks utilities, Databricks integrations with different things, Databricks handling file formats, Databricks batch processing, Databricks streaming API, data lake, workflows, right? And Azure Synapse Analytics in this, everything like Spark, all this. You can just check with this. Step by step, everything I'll be discussing in brief about all these things, right? Okay. You'll be getting each and every session video, the soft copy of this class notes, a WhatsApp group. Tomorrow, a WhatsApp group will be created. You will be added to the WhatsApp group. From tomorrow onwards, see, this whatever I discussed, just check with this, right? From the demo session onwards, everything you will be getting the notes. Yesterday and today, whatever we have discussed, the clear notes.
Sir, I have one basic question, sir. Like, I see ADF and ADE both are happening at the same time. So, how it is differs from ADF and ADE, sir? Like, I feel like ETL, most things in the syllabus content. I'm new to here. Like, in the ADF itself, how it differs with Databricks? Is it something adding value addition or something more to you have to learn that also? Because I see like two courses got mentioned here. That's why I bit doubt here. Help me here.
In this, yes, I can hear you. Just check with this, right? I made it clear here. Can you check it here? Azure Data Engineering is this entire package. Azure Data Engineering, where you need to have the knowledge about these things. Here, the main hot cake in the market, PySpark. And for all this execution happening by using Spark. And here, the only advantage here is zero coding ETL using ADF. As a ADF, okay, but ADF developer, okay. As a Databricks developer, you can go. As a data engineer, like we need to have. But here, ADF, you'll be creating pipelines and you'll be performing the operations for ETL purpose you'll be using. But Azure Databricks, where you perform analytics and also like complex operations, there are some things where ADF cannot perform because you are not able to write any code there. Whatever with the available features of this ADF portal that you can drag and you can use it. But if you want to generate or if you want to user define things, right, you need to go with Databricks. It will in Databricks, you will have the entire control on the cluster. Here you don't have the entire control on the cluster. Means default cluster, but here whatever cluster you want with how many systems you want, what is the configuration, everything you can choose. You'll have control and you can write your own code on the Spark. And you can develop and you can make use of all the Spark related libraries you can use. They can write code for it. So totally you can customized codes you can write here. Okay. So here like especially in Databricks, like streaming kinds of things that and for graph algorithms, these things, right? You can and complex operations, everything. ADF, there are some things where they'll be depending on the Databricks developer. If complex operations, those things, if you want to write customized codes for complex operations, are like many kind of unstructured kind of data, right? They depends on the Databricks developer. So previously, okay, I can say previously like 4 years, 5 years ago, right? With only ADF, there were a lot of jobs available. Now they are asking ADF along with ADB also required, right? But still, if you search for that ADF, you can go with the jobs, but as compared like less jobs, you'll be having more calls for this if you've got knowledge on ADB and with PySpark combination, right? You'll be having more calls. So as part of this course, these things will be discussed in brief. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, even PySpark and Azure Synapse Analytics. These things, right? As a data engineer, you need to have that knowledge. If you go clearly in that job role, they'll be mentioning ADF, ADB, if Synapse, or even Spark. I mean, anyhow, you need to have the knowledge on Spark, right?
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
And apart from that, I said I'll also provide knowledge on this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Cosmos, and streaming, where you will be interacting with these things, the input and output, where you will be.
Okay.
Yeah, you get that right. So previously, like 4 5 years ago, right? With only ADF, you can run the show. It was, but now onwards, right? But even now, there are some companies they will be might be asking only for ADF, but very less. Okay, you may get a job if you keep searching, right? But most of them calls ADF and ADB with ADB also, right?
What are the
Even
chances for someone to join if we are this is a new thing, right? New domain. Can we jump to this after 15 plus or something? Any idea?
Yes, today it's Azure Data Engineer, right? Azure Data Engineering, right? It's one of the demanding tool, right, in the market, which has got great demand. Data engineer and data scientist.
So do we need to have ETL background before we this?
No, nothing. Everything in ADF will be going to from that ground level to the advanced level. Everything will be discussing step by step. Okay, so actually these are actually it was separate courses. ADF is a separate course. Azure Databricks is a separate course. PySpark is a separate course. I'm taking many weekend batches of PySpark, and this Azure Synapse is a separate course. Each one like 6,000, 6,000, 6,000, and 6,000, 24,000 actually it's it. But if you are taking the entire package Azure Data Engineering, the course fee is 12,000 for this entire thing, right? So 12,000, around 3 to 4 months it takes. Right? Duration will be 3 to 4. Well, because in these 4 courses you'll be learning, right, in depth about this, where you'll be getting great command of this. It will be adding weightage to your resume. So if once ADF is completed, you can just go with your calls. You can try once Databricks totally. You can keep all these things and you can try, right? Yes. And if you're regular to the sessions, if you're doing that practice regularly, and in all the sessions, I said interactive sessions. So everything you'll be understanding. You'll be asking the queries, right? During the sessions, right?
Yes, sir. One quick question, sir. Is there like any project kind of experience will be receiving, like extracting how the real work will be there, right? While working this course, can we also go through like how the work will be? Can we come across any small project kind of thing?
So the flow, the entire one project flow I'll be discussing, right, from the start to the end.
Okay, okay.
At the end, I'll be discussing, right? Yes, yeah, we have got many certifications for this also, right? Yes, I asked someone asked, right? You can the right. There are many, not one, many certifications are available for this. I'll be discussing separately one session on that. People look. So these things are most sufficient for attending the certification on this. Yes. Yeah. So from tomorrow we'll be discussing with the actual things, right? So building blocks of ADF, I'll be starting from tomorrow, step by step. What are the major building blocks of ADF? And there we'll be starting first 2 3 days, right? We'll be discussing. Later we go with the practical part. So how to get that Azure subscription for free? I'll be discussing. You can get Azure subscription free, right? How we can get the free subscription? Some 16,000 credits will be added to your account whenever you take a free account. And later, once your free account gets elapsed, right? Once it's how we can use it and how to, with the minimal, very minimal cost, how you can work with, how we can practice it. So what you should do for that, everything I'll be discussing during this course, right? Even for Databricks, the charges will be little high, but Data Factory, no, the charges will be less only. But Databricks, right, as you'll be running a cluster. So, but with minimal cost, with many minimal cost, how you can practice it, what you should do for that, I'll be discussing, right? But any other queries, anyone? Right?
Any system requirements are normal is since it's the cloud, right? For practical.
Everything, and nothing, everything in that your browser, in the browser itself will be performing. No requirement, no system requirement, everything in the cloud. Okay, fine. Nothing, you can do parallelly along with me. I said like interactive sessions, hands-on interactive sessions. People who are, you can do parallelly along with me also. And most of the examples, 50% of the examples I won't show on my system. On your system, I'll be showing you it. On any one of your system, you'll be just many transformations are there, one by one transformations, right? Right. But others also you can do parallelly along with me, right? Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Same timing. Won't be any change in the timing, right? Fine. So meet you tomorrow. So check it, the details, the contact. See, one more thing, people do a mistake, right? Even though they get enrolled, they won't be getting link for some time because here clearly they are mentioned, right? They given a note. Please send you a screenshot of your payment. to that mail ID. They are given a mail ID. They are asking you to send the screenshot of your payment to that mail ID. Then only they will be forwarding you the link for tomorrow's class. People, they'll be enrolling, they'll be paying the fees, but still they won't send the screenshot. They won't be getting the link. So try to just check with that, the Durgasoft online training at gmail.com. To that mail ID, try to send your screenshot so that to the same mail ID, they will reply and provide you the link tomorrow tomorrow afternoon. They'll be forwarding the link, right? If you're not received the link, you can just make a note of that contact details, right? They have given 4 contact details, right? Yes. Yes, you get that right. Yes. We'll in brief in depth, we'll be discussing about, I'll be discussing about those certifications also. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Okay. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow. Yes. Same time at 6 o'clock. More discussion on, we'll be starting from the actual idea of things, right?